The team has just received an impressive amount of positive news, with several unexpected updates coming in today. In this video, a series of encouraging updates will be presented, which I believe will lift your spirits for the work week ahead. If you're interested in daily content about the team, consider subscribing, as there's a journey toward a significant milestone, and a special event will be held once that goal is reached. Your support truly makes a difference. To begin, there are about 4 or 5 different pieces of information to cover, so let's get straight to the point. The first update concerns the quarterback, who is currently in negotiations for a new contract with the team. While there's no immediate urgency to finalize a deal, there is a desire to have the contract in place before the 2025 NFL season begins. This information comes from a reliable source closely following the situation. While you might not agree with everything that is said, it's important to recognize that this is trustworthy information. Additionally, within this report, several sources pointed out that Brock Purdy may end up receiving between $50 and $55 million per year in his new contract. So, it seems the team might be enjoying an opportunity for negotiations, as suggested by the document, which appears to differ from previous reports. On one hand, it may seem like no new revelations have come forward, but on the other hand, I'm optimistic about this development, and here's why. Despite its seeming contradictory to claim we haven't gained new information, I believe we've obtained significant context. The first point to consider is that these ongoing negotiations symbolize a sign of progress. We've seen various indications of movement from the team recently, which is promising. I discovered something intriguing that I wish to share. The first thing to consider is the timing surrounding these negotiations, which reveals a level of activity we've noticed with a specific team and the media. This presents an excellent chance to compare it with past contracts that took a long time to conclude. For instance, the contract issues involving a previous player seem to drag on for months, with little new information emerging. In contrast, it seems this team has taken a proactive approach from the beginning, engaging in negotiations that indicate ongoing discussions. It is promising to see that there is a clearer contract range than what was speculated on recently, during which various estimates were floating around. At present, the situation appears more definitive, with a range between $50 and $55 million. When taking into account the rise in the salary cap, this range feels more akin to $45 to $50 million, which is comforting. As we move forward, there are many more stories to explore. It is encouraging to note that the negotiations regarding contracts are still progressing, and the current range aligns well with what was anticipated. If you have a different viewpoint, please feel free to express it in the comments. Moreover, this development was somewhat expected, as some signals hinted at a similar outlook, but the anticipated wins for the upcoming season were set at 10.5. This season is understood to consist of 17 games, which requires a shift in perspective concerning the implications of achieving 11 wins. Given the challenges the team has encountered, especially with numerous players leaving and those positions still open, alongside the upcoming draft, it raises questions about how events will unfold. Despite the hurdles, projections suggest the team is still on track for 10 wins. Taking into account all that the players have gone through, particularly those who are on their way out, and the absence of replacements for their roles, it certainly raises questions regarding clarity. The forecast indicates a 10.5 win season, creating an over or under scenario. Essentially, one can speculate on whether they will reach 11 wins or more or fall short with 10 wins or fewer. It is crucial to highlight that a half win is not a viable outcome. This scenario is truly compelling, with 2 key reasons supporting this viewpoint. First, the schedule is a vital aspect that warrants scrutiny. The primary factor enhancing the team's chances of securing 11 wins is their schedule. Reflecting on the previous year, it is noteworthy that they faced the most difficult schedule in the league, ranking first among all teams. However, when examining this year's schedule based on last year's performance, they're positioned 32nd out of 32 teams. This marks a significant transition from having the hardest schedule to now having the most advantageous one. Naturally, it will be fascinating to see how the season develops, including which teams manage to improve and which underperform compared to last year. The scenario may not be as simple as it seems. Last year, the strength of the schedule was mid-tier, yet it concluded as the toughest based on records. Projections estimate the team at 10.5 wins, which is remarkable. This forecast implies that reaching 11 or even 12 wins is achievable. This holds weight, especially with the potential for betting on this line. If there are varying perspectives on this evaluation, opportunities for discussion remain open. Some have suggested that if one finds this projection questionable, there exists a chance to leverage that viewpoint. This is impressive. Recently, I came across a post on a social media network that caught my eye, highlighting an interesting viewpoint. The message was straightforward. If you have a different opinion from the more common ones, feel free to take a chance and make your bet. It seems some think the team will face challenges in securing the NFC West title. Moving on, let's talk about George Kittle. According to an analysis from a respected football source, he is about to transform the tight end market. While this may seem concerning for those worried about the team's finances, I see it as positive news. My expectation is that George Kittle will remain with the team throughout his career. The idea of seeing him wear another team's jersey simply doesn't cross my mind. I can imagine him in black and gold, representing the Niners, and that's the only future I hope for him. Recently, an article brought some relevant information about the situation, revealing that Kittle is expected to impact the salary cap by $22 million in 2025, which would make him the second largest impact on the team, behind the linebacker, who will be at $29.2 million. However, there is a chance the team could ease the financial burden on Kittle through a contract extension, allowing for more effective management of that amount in the future. I hope similar consideration is made for Warner as well. Moreover, the analysis indicated that, even at 31, Kittle is indisputably the best tight end in the NFL. He stood out among qualified tight ends, leading both in overall ranking and reception, with only 2 drops and 70% receptions in challenging situations in 2024. With 7 consecutive seasons maintaining an overall rating above 84.7, Kittle has only 1 year left on his contract and is expected to surpass Travis Kelce's annual average value of $17.125 million. I want to address the skeptics soon, but first, let me point out that Kittle surpassed 10,000 receiving yards for the 4th time in his NFL career, catching 78 passes and leading the team with 1,106 yards and 8 touchdowns. Now, regarding the skeptics, I will address this shortly. But first, I would like to remind you of a key point. Kittle surpassed 10,000 receiving yards for the 4th time in his NFL career, with 78 receptions and leading the team with 1,106 yards and 8 touchdowns. Over the last 3 years, he has accumulated 25 touchdowns. Now, for those who say that Kittle is aging and that they should let him finish his last contract year, should he perform poorly, I understand that view. But the point is that even if Kittle had a down year or got injured at some point, and I hope that doesn't happen, the reality is that he still deserves a good contract for what he has already done. A bad year, like another player's, won't eliminate other teams' willingness to offer a significant sum. I truly hope he stays with the team because if he doesn't get a new contract now, he will certainly have a solid offer next season. It may not be as high as it would be at this moment, but it will still be significant, and I want him to stay a Niner. That's my hope. Of course, we know from the management that the team is in talks with him, and we also know that both Kittle and the management want him to finish his career as a Niner. We all hope that happens. I'm really excited about this possibility. Recently, I read an intriguing article about a tackle from Texas, and that's fascinating. Why might this tackle be the team's best choice in the 1st round for the offensive line? This applies to all of you, as I see your interactions and value your participation. It's always a pleasure to read what you share. When we discussed the defensive line, I don't exactly recall if it was yesterday or the day before, but we talked about it, considering defensive tackles versus edge rushers. And I'm not even addressing the offensive line yet. As we move past the initial phase, even with the strong team the 49ers have in the 2nd round, there's a good chance that their best opportunity to secure a starting tackle will be in the 1st round. I'm not suggesting they should immediately implement him as the starting tackle, but the possibility of selecting him for this role, I apologize, is limited to the 1st round. I agree with that view. I mentioned earlier Trent Williams' eventual retirement. McCaffrey is on the team, and Banks stands at 6 feet 5 inches, weighing 315 pounds, demonstrating athleticism that offers a promising chance of success within the 49ers' outside zone running strategy. Moreover, he fits the profile of a player mini project for the draft, where tackle is selected and gets a year of experience as a guard, competing for the left guard position in a scenario similar to Ben B. or Spencer Burford. This could bring significant advantages to the 49ers, as they would be acquiring an athlete who would have a year to adapt before taking over Trent Williams' spot. The possibility of his availability will be explored alongside other offensive line players or tackles in the coming days. However, the chance of Kelvin Banks being available with the 11th pick for the San Francisco 49ers is, as of now, 80%. This data comes from several draft simulations. Will Campbell is widely seen as the top tackle this year, while Armand Mio posted the most impressive 40-yard dash performance I've ever witnessed, a performance that remains unbeaten, accompanied by unforgettable primal screams. If you haven't had a chance to watch, it's worth checking out. We also have Kelvin Banks, who represents the offensive tackles available in the first round. These are the talents being considered. Leave your thoughts in the comments. It's important to highlight that Banks finished the last season as the highest-rated offensive tackle in the country, according to PFF, allowing only 1 sack, 2 hits on the quarterback, and 7 pressures over 538 pass-blocking snaps. Although it's not extraordinary, he demonstrates enough agility to adapt and block defenders both at the second level and on the line. This is essentially your final and definitive point. Banks finished the last season as the highest-rated offensive tackle in the nation. He allowed only 1 sack, recorded 2 hits on the quarterback, and faced 7 pressures over 538 pass-blocking snaps. While it's not overly impressive, he exhibits agility to adjust and neutralize defenders at both the second level and on the line. The NFL Network draft analyst expressed his evaluations about Banks, acknowledging that he has some reservations regarding his assessments, but he ranks him as a generally respectable figure on the field. Some teams view him as more suited for the guard position, but I maintain the stance that he can effectively play the tackle role. Overall, Banks has areas that need improvement, but I value his fundamental strength and agility. It's crucial to note that the 49ers typically draft players in development. So if there's a perception that he's a project, the probability is that the 49ers will select him. That's part of the process. I'm just joking. I'd really love to hear your thoughts in the comments on this. Now we're 29 days out, officially less than 30 days, which is great because we're counting down. Personally, I almost prefer not to check the countdown because it tends to remind me that we're just working hard, and I really need the draft to come soon so I can start figuring out what the 49ers' plans are. I'm excited to understand how they plan to address all the positions that need attention. I'm looking forward to sharing insights about these topics, so stay tuned to make sure you don't miss any updates. Thank you all, and I hope you have a great night, whether it's Wednesday, Thursday, or whenever you're watching, heading into a great weekend. But before we dive in, don't forget to subscribe to 49ers Zone and hit the like button on this video. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on the San Francisco 49ers. And don't forget to share your thoughts on the news in the comments below. The rumors have been swirling, and the latest development about Christian McCaffrey has left fans on the edge of their seats. A breaking story suggests that the star running back of the San Francisco 49ers is facing a 2-year suspension following a doping violation. As one of the NFL's brightest stars, known for his explosive performances and jaw-dropping records, this news has hit the league like a thunderclap. But could this be true? The impact on the 49ers, McCaffrey's career, and the NFL as a whole is monumental, and fans are clamoring for answers. McCaffrey, a former Heisman finalist and the 2023 Offensive Player of the Year, is no stranger to accolades. His transition to the 49ers in 2022 elevated him to legendary status. And last season, he was instrumental in the team's NFC Championship run, amassing impressive statistics. So, when reports began to surface about a potential doping violation, the shock was palpable. The 49ers have yet to issue a public statement, but the buzz around this issue continues to grow. What makes this rumor particularly hard to digest is McCaffrey's standing in the NFL. As the highest-paid running back in the league, his career has been a model of consistency and excellence. Yet, if the suspension rumors are true, it could be a devastating blow to both his personal legacy and the 49ers' Super Bowl aspirations. His absence would leave a massive hole in the team's offensive strategy, one they might struggle to fill. Could the 49ers' dream of another championship be shattered before the season even begins? The details surrounding the alleged doping violation remain unclear, and questions abound. Was it a misunderstanding, or is there more to the story? McCaffrey's camp has yet to respond, and the NFL's investigation is ongoing. As one of the most disciplined and dedicated athletes in the game, it seems out of character for McCaffrey to be involved in something of this nature. But if the league's findings do confirm the suspension, the consequences could be far-reaching, not just for McCaffrey, but for the entire NFL's approach to performance-enhancing substances. In the coming weeks, we can expect the situation to unfold, with fans and analysts alike dissecting every piece of available information. For now, though, the uncertainty remains. Will Christian McCaffrey's incredible journey take an unexpected and tragic turn, or will this be yet another rumor that fizzles out? One thing is for sure, this story is far from over, and the NFL world is watching closely. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving exclusive news about the San Francisco 49ers, make sure to subscribe to 49ers Zone and give this video a like. We always look forward to hearing your comments and opinions. See you in the next video.